I couldn't just let her go home after all that. So instead we come to the park, a short distance from the train station. I have Senpai sit on a bench while I put down our things.
飲み物買ってきます。ちょっと待っててもらっていいですか？
はい。
お茶でいいですか？
何でも。
了解です。
I'm a bit worried about leaving Senpai alone, but I have a little something to take care of. So I head off to a vending machine. Taking out my wallet, I put some change in the slot. I feel a presence behind me. As I press a button on the vending machine and move to retrieve the tea I bought, I speak to her.
どうだった？
話つけてきたぜ。つっても連れの方とだけどな。本人は全く喋んなかったが、大丈夫だろ。
本当か？
ああ、もう来ねえってよ。あのアホが来ようとしても止めるとさ。
何がしたかったんだあいつは。
連れの話だが、しょうもねえぜ。身内に彼女持ちが増えて焦ってんじゃねえか、だってよ。その話してた時目が泳いでたからガチだろうな。
はあ？もしかして先輩に会うためにこの辺うろついてたのか
？7ラウンド2とかやたらと行きたがってた理由が分かったって連れが呆れてたぜ。あれだろ、ガキの頃から気になってて意地悪して気を引こうとしてたとかよ。
Well, yeah, that much was obvious. I just wasn't expecting him to still have a crush on her. Like, bro, it's been a while.
今回も同じ手口で口説こうとしたが反撃食らって玉砕ってわけだ。
ああ、ほくさ。
だな、アホだ。昔自分をいじめていたやつになびくはずねえのにな。笑えるぜ。
で、そのアホは？
この世の終わりって顔してたぜ。報復はねえだろ。そんな度胸ねえよあいつ。まだなんかあんのか？心配事。
アーティファクトの力を使っちまった。魔眼まで使いそうになった。
また使いそうになったら俺を呼べよ。代わりにボコってやる。
当事者の先輩が耐えたんだ。俺が暴力に訴えるのはな。
いいさ。あんまり一人で待たせんなよ。
I mean, you know, a punch to the face would have sufficed, but you burn his hand, so, you know.
ああ、ありがとな。
自分の分身に礼なんて言うなよ。じゃあな。
Well, I say burnt, but there wouldn't have been any physical marks on his hand, so of wrist, I guess. Poof. Just disappears. After buying another tea, I return to Senpai.
すみません。お待たせしました。
ありがとうございます。
Handing her one of the bottles of tea, I sit down next to her. Senpai stares at the label on the plastic bottle in a daze. Then with some difficulty, it takes off the cap and raises it to her lips. After wetting her throat, she lets out a short sigh.
大丈夫ですか？
はい。大丈夫です。すみません。ずっと黙っていて、落ち込んでいるわけじゃないんです。ただ、自分のしたことにびっくりしてて、まだ少しドキドキしてます。
かっこよかったです、先輩。
そんな、全部衝動的な行動で、恥ずかしい。
俺はかっこ悪かったですね。すみません。見ているだけで。
いえ、新見さんがいてくれたから怖くなかったんです。私一人だったらきっと震えてるだけで何もできなかった。
She takes out the crumpled pictures from her bag.
私だけのものだったらあーってがっかりして終わったと思います。でも新見さんと一緒に撮ったものだから許せなくて、気がついたら怒鳴ってました。私あんな声出せたんだ。
これ。
I take out my photos and offer them to Senpai.
俺のは無事なんで。
いえ、私こっちでいいです。
でも
いいんです。見るたびに思い出せますから。私 ちゃんと怖いことに立ち向かえたぞって。だからこっちがいいです。一番大事なものはちゃんと守れましたし。
Taking off her smartphone cover, she looks steadily at the photo attached to her phone. She caresses it with her finger.
ノアちゃんの言った通りでした。アーティファクトの力を使わなくても自分は変えられる。
一瞬人格変えたのかと思いました。
新見さんとゴーストさんをイメージして真似してみました。
俺もですか？
はい。本当はうせろって言いたかったです。
口悪いっすね。俺
嬉しかったです。守ってくれて。私も頑張らなきゃって思って追いかけたんですけど、一発殴ってやるってそう思ったんです。でもできなかったな。
良かったと思います。殴らなくて。
そうですね。暴力は良くないです。
Yeah, definitely. Takeru, don't tell her what you did. With a sad smile, she touches the phone again.
私が頑張れたのは皆さんと出会えたからだと思います。皆さんと出会って仲間にしてもらえて、一緒に笑って頑張って一緒に立ち向かった、その経験が私を強くしてくれたんだと思います。イーリスに比べたら河本くんなんてことなかったです。新見さんを失うかもって思ったあの時に比べたら何も怖くなかった。
Squeezing her phone, she raises her face and looks straight at me.
変わるきっかけをくれたのは新見さんです。新見さんが私の手を取ってくれたから、私は前の私よりちょっぴり強くなりました。お姫様になりたいなってずっと思っていたけど、ただ待っているだけじゃダメなんだって気がつくことができました。ただ新見さんに守ってもらうだけじゃなくて隣にいたいんだって。自分の足で前に進まないと隣にはいられないんだって気がつけました。さっき頑張れたのは全部新見さんのおかげです。こんなこと言われたら引いちゃうかもしれないけど、私を変えてくれた新見さんは間違いなくずっと憧れていた白馬のナイト王子様です。本当にありがとうございます。私と出会ってくれてありがとうございます。
先輩、俺
はい。
先輩のこと好きです。
Yes.
大丈夫ですか？聞いたことない音出ましたけど。
すみません。変な声出ました。わかります。友達としてですよね。そっちですよね。わかります。
Bro. He said love. You said like, and that would be you could excuse that for as a friend, not love, all right?
いえ、女の子として。
Now she makes sound like she's a kid she's on a kid's superhero show. I can't help but laugh. Senpai's eyes are flitting all over the place. She checks in her bag, opens a bottle of tea, closes it again. She's acting totally weird.
だって私カレーとかその他もろもろの妄想癖とかドン引きさせることしかしてなかったので、絶対にダメだと。
ダメじゃないですよ。
マジですか？
マジです。マジで言ってます。
ドッキリではなく。
そんな悪質なことしませんよ。
今ソラちゃんが飛び出してきたら逆に安心するかもしれません。
迷惑でした。
そんなこと、ただ驚きすぎて私死ぬのでは。
死んじゃうなら撤回した方がいいですね。
She probably just isn't able to get the words out, but Senpai's got tears in her eyes, and she's shaking her head like a little kid. It's so cute, I think I'm gonna die.
撤回しないでください。
しませんよ。冗談です。
よかった。一つだけいいですか？
はい。
もう一度聞かせてください。
Before I had managed to say those words without hesitation, thanks to the momentum of the conversation, but having to say it again is quite embarrassing. But if Senpai wants me to, I stand up from the bench. Senpai's expression looks a bit sad, but I'm not trying to refuse her or run away. I kneel in front of Senpai and take her hand. Okay, hang on a minute. I thought I was hoping for an accompanying CG, but why are you implying proposal?
俺、ナイトとか王子様とか、そんな柄じゃないけど、先輩がそう思ってくれているなら、がっかりさせないように頑張ります。だから、これからも先輩のことを守らせてください。先輩の隣で精一杯、かっこつけさせてください。先輩。好きです。俺と付き合ってください。俺のお姫様になってください。返事聞かせてもらえますか？
すみません。理想通りすぎて感動で私もあなたが好きです。大好きです。私をあなたのお姫様にしてください。
Senpai smiles with tears pouring down her face. She had already confessed to me once, but right now I could breathe a sigh of relief. The mere 10 seconds before I heard her response had left me full of unease. How many days had I put my answer on hold? Now I feel a sense of guilt. After making her wait so long, I'll need to make it up to her. The beautiful hand I'm holding. Somehow I know that Senpai is waiting for me. I know what Senpai is waiting for. Now's not the time to feel shy, and so I pull her hand close and gently kiss the back of her hand.
よろしく。俺のお姫様。
はい。ふつつか者ですが、よろしくお願いします。私の王子様。
And so the two of us became a couple. But after being drunk on the atmosphere, I finally sober up. I remember the things I just did, the words that spilled out of my mouth. A flood of embarrassment makes my face burn. Not wanting to break the moment, I try holding out a bit more. But I get too fidgety and can't take this anymore. This really just isn't me. The way I confess to Senpai must stay a secret, no matter what, especially to my evil little sister. While feeling a bit reluctant about it, I let go of Senpai's hand and stand up, looking at my feet in embarrassment. And then... Thank you. I was waiting for the accompanying CG, man. Took you long enough. For an instant, I don't know what just happened. Senpai's warmth. Senpai's sweet scent. The soft heat that touches my lips. My brain seizes up, and I can't think. But I know what I should do. Unconsciously, I wrap my arms around Senpai's waist and embrace her. I feel her strongly with my lips, with my whole body. The time we're in contact with each other is not all that long. But to me, it feels like an eternity. It feels like all time had stopped, and there's just the two of us. While I want to stay like this forever, all good things must come to an end. Senpai's hot breath, her warmth lingering on my lips. Reluctant to part with her, I once again try to put the distance between us, but close the distance between us. Senpai's eyes pop open, and then she slips from my arms and takes a couple steps back.
すみません。勝手に盛り上がってしまって。
いえ、もっとしたかったです。
じゃあ、めっちゃ人いますね。
本当だ。
But Senpai's way of speaking is a bit out of character due to all her excitement. There aren't a ton of people per se, but we did finally notice that there are a fair amount of people in the area. The rest, they're all making out as well, so, you know. A short ways off, a group of guys are glancing over at us and grinning. Okay, maybe those guys aren't making out, but maybe. They saw my confession just now. Oh, god damn it. This is embarrassing. Just, you know, just be glad that none of them are probably friends with your sister.
帰りましょうか。
Senpai hesitantly grabs my uniform and lightly pulls on it.
はい。
すでに、私の脳内では言葉にできないようなことが繰り広げられておりまして、今日、私、帰りたくないです。
We, just like when we kissed, my thoughts come to a halt. She doesn't want to go home. Doesn't want to go home. That means what it means, right?
じゃあ、帰りましょうか。俺ん家に。
Senpai's rather enthusiastic response makes me a bit embarrassed, but my anticipation for what's coming next also grows. Yeah? Which part of you grows? Never mind it. Holding hands, we start walking back to her at a quicker pace than usual.
お邪魔します。
Tadaima. I mean, we arrive at my place. For some reason, we're just standing there in the entryway without taking off our shoes.
はい。
私、さっき、お姫様とか寒いこと言っちゃいましたが。
いや、先輩、それ寒いとか言われると俺も。
すみません。私、彼女ってことでいいんですよね。
もちろん、はい。
つまり、新見さんは彼氏。
はい。ですね。はい。
つまり、ここは、彼氏の家。
ですね。はい。
おー。
She's suddenly getting really excited. I'm not going to rain on her parade by reminding Senpai that she's been here countless times before. Yeah, but those other times those other times she was just at her friend's house, alright? She was just at Kakeru's house, but now she's at her boyfriend's house. And that means she doesn't have to stop at only having her tits groped. I mean, what? Well, I kind of understand what she's feeling. After all, this time I'm not inviting my friend from school into my room, but my girlfriend. There's no way I wouldn't get pumped for this.
じゃあ、お邪魔します。
どうぞ。
Senpai takes off her shoes and enters the living room. I follow a moment later. For some reason, she raises her hands and does a victory pose. I just said I understand her feelings, but Senpai is way too much of a free spirit. She's so excited about this. She's acting like a bit crazy.
まさかこんな日が来るなんて。神様ありがとうございます。
先輩。
When I peer at her face, she seems to snap back to reality, or at least I think she does, but then her weird behavior continues.
一応お家に連絡はいたしまして。
はい。さっきスマホ触ってましたね。
そうなんです。お母さんに彼氏ができましたと報告をいたしまして。
And then she was like, about time.
早いですね。もうしたんですか？
それで今日はお泊まりだとも報告いたしまして。
And then your mom was like, make sure to wear protection, dear. Make sure he wears protection, dear.
したんすか？
But little does her mom know, he's an arrogate protagonist, which means that he can only impregnate the girl when he wants to.
頑張りなさいとお母さんが。
そうっすか。
Boy, what an open family that the Kosaka household is.
それで
はい。
私うざいですか？
急にテンション落ちましたね。
いえ、新見さんがドン引きしてる感がありありと伝わってきたので。
いえいえ、大丈夫ですよ。聞いてなんかないです。
そうですか。よかったです。
何か言いかけてませんでした？
はい。お願いが。
はい。
いくつか夢があって、そのうちのいくつかはもう叶ったんですが、もう一つ今叶えてもいいですか？
俺ができることなら。
はい。一緒にお風呂入りませんか？
Damn. I mean, they were gonna fuck either way, so I guess they could also do this.
お風呂？
お風呂です。
一緒にですか？
お風呂でイチャイチャするシチュエーションに憧れがあり。
イチャイチャ。それはお風呂なんで
裸ですね。
裸。
婚約の約束はしてないですね。でもフラグ回収的な感じでいつか入りたいなって。ダメでしょうか？
入りましょう。入りましょう。一緒に。
はい。じゃあ服。
I wonder if Haruka is even less restrained in the 18 plus 18 plus version. Because, like, this is the all ages version of Haruka, and we already know that they change dialogue. They add new dialogue in the all ages version to make it more tame.
そうですね。脱がない。シャワーだけでいいです？
いえ、できれば一緒に湯船に。
湯張ってきます。
すみません。
I get out of the bath and change into my clothes and go to the living room. Haruka is already dressed too, and is now squatting near the table. But she's not in her usual uniform. Instead, she's wearing the shirt I had on before we got in the bath. She put it on willingly, not because I asked her to or anything. So she put on the used shirt, huh? Interesting. Seeing her like this really is a bit too titillating, pun intended.
やっぱり制服の方がいいですか？
いや、それで大丈夫っす。
Giving her somewhat suspicious confirmation, I sit down next to Haruka. Well, what now? What are we supposed to do next? I don't have the slightest clue. Okay, they either did it in the bathroom or they're gonna do it now. But either way, you'll have to go to the Patreon to see what happened in the bathroom.
さっきから私ばっかりで申し訳ないんですが、また夢叶えちゃってもいいですか？
はい。
一緒に映画見たいです。
いいですね。見ましょうか。
それで映画そっちのけでイチャイチャしたいです。
I was gonna make a joke that, and then during the movie they can fool around, but I guess that was also part of Haruka's fantasy.
基本あれですね。最終的にイチャイチャですね。
だって私したいです。イチャイチャ。すみませんがっついて。 興奮が羞恥心を上回り。
いえ、俺もしたいです。
I hug her shoulders and bring her closer to me. No, you're meant to wait until during the movie, Kakeru. You're not following the script. And then we lock lips.
頭ぼーっとします。
俺もです。
どうぞこのまま押し倒していただいて。私こういうこと言うからダメなんですね。もう黙ってます。すみません。
Seeing Haruka this flustered is incredibly cute. A part of me wants to do as she asked and push her down, but there's something I need to do first.
はるか。
はい。
お腹空いてないです。
She casts her eyes down guiltily and cradles her stomach.
お腹鳴ってるのバレてましたか。
さっきから小さくなってましたね。
すみません。
何食べます？
買いに行きますよね。着替えた方がいいですね。
せっかくだし、デリバリーでなんか頼みましょう。
なんだか贅沢です。
一人だとなかなか頼めないんですよね。1500円からとか決まってて。
そうなんですね。
何食べるか決めましょうか。
I turn on my laptop and navigate to a food delivery site.
中華、洋食、和食。何がいいです？
どうしよう。おすすめは？
そうっすね。あ、この店行ったことある。結構美味しかったですよ。
じゃあここがいいです。
メニューは。
We both gaze at the small screen and pick our dishes. This is by no means anything out of the ordinary, but it feels kind of fun to me. We'll probably both be pretty nervous even after this, and won't really be able to make out properly though. Well, you know, as long as the food you picked doesn't have too much garlic in it, you know? But for me, this is fine, I think. This is fun. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. I don't know what comes next, or what the future may hold. But we can take it step by step, becoming lovers in the process.
これ美味しそう。
じゃあそれ頼みましょうか。あとは。
And frankly, I'm really looking forward to it. Five, 7. I'm also looking forward to it. Going through this part again so that I can see the hate scenes.
おはようございます。
Okay, they definitely fucked. All right, that part's probably obvious. Pretty obvious.
おはようございます。
It'd be weirder if they didn't fuck. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. That's to cover my ground if they don't actually fuck in the 18+ version. Haruka's smile is the first thing I see when I open my eyes. That alone is enough to make me happy.
いつ起きました？
さっきです。寝顔が可愛かったので眺めてました。
恥ずかしいな。
She smiles, then ruffles my hair. I throw my arms around Haruka and bury my face into her chest. I just wanted to do it, no particular reason.
かけるさん、実は甘えん坊さんですね。
今まで甘えられる相手がいなかったんですよね。
よしよし。
She pets my head again. You know, I'm not usually happy about being treated like a child. Well, you fucked the girl who's treating you like a child, so I don't think there's a problem.
すげえ落ち着く。
一人暮らしはいつからしてるんですか
1年の時からですね。
一人の時間が長かったから飢えていたんでしょうか。
なのかも。包容力とかそういうのよくわかんないですけど。
包容力、それなら。 こちらの方がもっと落ち着きますか？
Haruka's tone of voice shifts. I have to deal with the other Haruka now. What do you mean deal with? You act like that's an issue.
もてあそばれそう。
それがお望みですか？
Also, hang on a minute. I fucking...
もてあそばれそう。
Okay, never mind. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say this. Here's a few things. Here's a few things I don't like. It's the fact it's not the game itself, I guess. It's more so the translation. Like, you heard Kakeru, and it just doesn't fit with the amount of words he says. Or, well, supposed to say, in terms of the localization, right? And it hasn't been as egregious as it used to be, right? In terms of, like, episode 1 levels of, extremely long, well, extremely long text, but not a lot actually, a short amount of time said. Or something like that. Like, look, I understand that there are a lot of times where Japanese sentences are a lot shorter than their translated counterparts, but, you know, surely there's an easier way to translate it so that it lines up better.
主導権握られると普通に照れちゃうんすよね。
ずっとリードしていただいていましたから、攻守交代ですわね。
たまにはそういうのいいかもしれないですね。
存分に甘えてくださいましね。
甘えろって言われるとどうすればいいのか。
精神年齢をとことん下げてみるとか。
赤ちゃん言葉とか
できます？
そこまで自分を捨てられないな。
じゃあ言葉はそのままで、行動だけ赤ちゃんっぽくしてみるとか。
This is some weird ass roleplay. And the worst part is that Haruka can use her ability to make this happen.
行動。
まだまだ理性が残っていらっしゃいますね。
自分を捨てて赤ちゃん帰りってのはなかなかできないっすね。
それなら。
Haruka smiles seductively while thumbing one of the buttons on her shirt. She slowly undoes each button one by one.
こうすれば本能に従いたくなりませんか？
My words are caught in my throat, but without needing to hear me speak, Haruka knows I won't be repelled by this or reject her. I must be making one hell of a face right now. I can feel it. I can't quite put it into words, but it's great. Awesome.
さあ、どうぞ。
Haruka pats her lap. I'm so dumbfounded that she has to smile and pat her lap again to prompt me to come.
ささ、どうぞ。
Oh, you'll be
お
doing
膝に。
a lot of comment. Never mind.
膝枕？
はい。
いいんですか？
どうぞ。
やった。
I squeak. I blush at the betrayal. I blush at the betrayal my voice has committed against my pride. Well, it can't be helped. Getting to lay your head on your girlfriend's lap is every man's dream.
失礼します。
I get up and clumsily make my way to Haruka. My heart pounds as I rest my head on her lap.
おー。
I'm overwhelmed with emotion.
足痛くないですか？
大丈夫ですわ。寝心地はいかがですか？
最高です。
There was no sprite there. Interesting. I relax and close my eyes. And Who am I kidding? I'm going crazy. I can't relax at a time like this. I better close my eyes anyway and try to play it cool. Last thing I want is for her to see how nervous I am. What are you, Haruka? Haruka gently brushes my bangs aside.
いつかの約束、やっと果たせましたね。
約束？
年上なのだから甘えてくださいと。
あ
ずっと口だけでしたが、ようやくですわね。
あ、でも俺結構先輩に頼ってましたよ。
そうですか？
先輩といると安心するんですよ。多分何かしくじってもフォローしてくれるだろうなって。
フォローしたことなどありましたでしょうか？
何度も。
記憶にございませんが、少しでも役に立てていたのならこの上ない喜びですわね。
そもそも先輩がいなければ俺もみんなも無事じゃなかった。
勇気を出すのが遅すぎましたか。
Haruka sighs and grins.
まだアーティファクトを探さなければいけませんが、こんな穏やかな時間がずっと続けばいいですわね。
That's episode 4, Kageru, to worry about. That's what episode 4. We can push that off to episode 4, Kageru, you know.
そうですね。
We still have our concerns, but we've avoided the worst possible future. Only one thing left to do, and that is to pray and fuck like crazy. For nothing worse to happen, for no one to be hurt. That is it. That is, for it all to end swiftly. And I hope to God that no one else will have to die.
かけるさんの力もここ数日は発動していないようですし、少なくとももうしばらくは落ち着いて。あらおやすみなさい、かけるさん。
Well, I guess he won't be doing any coming. We head to the train station after having lunch at a diner. One end. Haruka asks me if she can go home for a while to get changed.
じゃあ、すぐ戻ってきますので。
家まで送っていきますよ。
でも
昨日のこともあるのでちょっと心配で。
Ghost said that creep wouldn't try to get revenge, but how am I not supposed to worry? I wouldn't be concerned if they came from different towns, but the fact they went to the same elementary school as Haruka probably means they frequent the same train station. There's a high chance of running into Haruka again. The least I can do is take her back to her house. Right, take her back to her house.
でも、わざわざ送ってもらうのは申し訳ないですし、私にはエデンがあるので、大丈夫だと思います。
Yeah, but how can you guarantee that you'll be able to use it when you need to? You know? I understand that you have a better grasp on your powers, but doesn't change the fact that it used to be inconsistent. Well, she's not wrong there. They would probably never meet if Haruka willed it using her powers. But that's not really what's gnawing at me right now. As her boyfriend, I should walk her home and I feel really lame for not being able to do that.
じゃあせめて。
I call out Ghost. Haruka is probably worried too.
はい、ありがとうございます。
She agrees to let Ghost go with her.
俺ならこき使ってもいいってか？
Well, at least as long as you're not killing people.
頼むよ。はるかを一人にしたくない。
冗談だよ。
Ghost holds out her right hand.
無一文じゃ電車乗れねえだろ。
ああ、そうだった。
I take a rail pass out of my wallet and give it to her. A rail pass? What, you just have fucking you just have rail passes on hand. You don't have a fucking Suica or a, I can't think of any other ones where basically it's just a fucking card that you get in Japan that you can just load up with money, and instead of having to buy a train ticket every time you go to the train station, you just tap the card and you can go in whenever you want, right? There's multiple versions, but yeah, I can only think of Suica at the moment. Multiple companies that do it, I mean.
どうも。んじゃ行こうぜ。
はい、 多分1時間か2時間くらいで戻ってきます。
了解です。
勝手に今日も泊まるつもりでいたんですが。
俺もそのつもりですよ。
よかった。じゃあ後で。
待ってます。
You could have done this before a ghost was summoned. I don't think she appreciates being the third wheel. Again.
イチャついてねえでさっさとしろよ。電車来んぞ。
はい。じゃあ。
Haruka turns around and Ghost follows. Follow Ghost. Wait, why is Ghost going ahead of her? I went until their figures disappear inside the station before heading back home myself. It happens not long after I reach home. I'm wondering whether Haruka had gotten back safely when my phone starts ringing. I take it out and see who it's from. Haruka.
はい。
よう、
あれ、ゴーストか。どうした？
俺を呼んで正解だったな。あいつ、名前なんだっけ？
河本か？
そうそいつ。はるかんちの近くをうろついてやがった。
はるかを探してたのか？
さあな。ただそいつんちとはるかんちはなんつうの、学区の端と端だから普通はこっちに来ねえってよ。
何かされたか？
いや、こっちに気づいてなかったしな。
そっか。
どうする？俺が話をつけてやってもいいぜ。
はるかはなんて言ってる？
偶然かもしれねえし、ほっとけってよ。
俺としてはどうにかしたいところだが。
因縁つけてきたらとっちめる。それでいいか？
ああ、頼む。
まだうろついてるかもしれねえから、ちょっとこっちでゆっくりしてくわ。そっちに戻るの夕方か夜になるかもな。
了解。
あとはるか、俺ん家に泊まることになってっから。
ん？
What? What do you mean your place?
アホがうろついてるのを理由に、怖いから落ち着くまで外泊するって、はるかが親に話したんだよ。
Haruka's gonna be staying at my place. Is she talking about? No, because she would have said your place. But okay, I'm confused.
ああ、うん。
で、バカ正直に恋人んちって言ったら、父親の方がすんげえ顔になってよ。
怒った？
逆だよ。落ち込んでた。
あ
だから俺んちってことにしといた。
あ、そういうことか。わかった。
Oh, okay. That's what it meant. Hang on, I need to reread it. I need to read it again. Okay. No, I get it now. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
いいって。ただ、なあ。
But yeah, because technically Ghost's place would be Kageru's, so changing it to Haruka's staying at Ghost's place would mean the same thing, basically. And it's technically not lying.
別に今話すことじゃねえんだけどよ。
どうした？
俺にもなんか名前つけてくれねえか？普通の。
え？
ゴーストって名前は、まあ別に嫌いじゃねえよ。お前の分身っつうか幻影っつうか、そういう意味だろ？
Yep.
悪くね。
Yeah, but like, what was your name before then? It was Ghost with Yoichi.
ただよ、身内以外にどう名乗ればいいんだよ。ゴーストですって寒すぎだろ。
ああ、確かにな。
はるかのやつ、俺を親になんて紹介したと思う？
なんて？
友達のゴースーコちゃんです。だとよ。
Right, yeah, because she was about to say ghost, but realized it was weird for someone to be for someone to be named Ghost, so she had to think of Suko on the fly.
笑ってんじゃねえよ。んだよ、スーコって。とっさの思いつきにしてもひどすぎんだろ。
Speak for yourself. I think Suko is a good VTuber.
考えとく。名前。
頼んだぜマジで。ま、こっちは任せとけ。はるかはちゃんと守ってやっから。
ああ、任せたぞ。スーコ。
死ね。
あ、
She hung up. I was going to ask her to put Haruka on the line. I guess Ghost is going to be a more permanent fixture in the group from now on, I guess. But then, how'd that work out? How does that work out in terms of episode 4? Because, well, Haruka liked Kakeru before he had Ghost. So, like, it's the same. It's kind of the same thing with Sora, where you can't really, you couldn't really, like, have Ghost reveal that she's the Evil Eye user without Sora using her powers as well in the same scene, right? So, you know, it was a smart thing for them to give Kakeru the memories of episode 2, and because of course they're evolving Kakeru's powers throughout these episodes, so it's a natural progression, right? It's not an ass pull like a lot of other series would have done, or right, you know. Oh well, she said they'll be back by tonight, because the thing is, right, time travel is a very hard thing to write without introducing a lot of plot holes. And well, one of those plot holes, I guess, was the idea of Kakeru losing his memories. So yeah, I feel like I talked about this when they revealed that Kakeru found out who Ghost was, as in the Evil Eye user, not as Yoichi's puppet. I'm blanking on the name again, but yeah, whatever. Oh well, she said they'll be back by tonight, but still. Komoto, I hope it really is just a coincidence, but if he hasn't given up yet, then things are going to get messy. I'll have to think of a plan just in case.
どうしたもんかな。
Just when we finally wrapped up the stuff with Iris and the petrification incident too, these problems keep popping up. Haruka returns by nightfall, like Ghost said. And I suppose that's good, but...
ただいまです。
She's completely exhausted. She said she was getting a change of clothes, but looking at it now...
どうしたんすかこの荷物。
Ah. I see. Her parents had the foresight to be like, well, if you're gonna stay over at your friend's place, quote unquote, you know, because some creep, Komoto, is lurking around her house, you may as well stay for longer than a few days, right?
ちょっとしたいことがあって。
一緒にゲームしたいんだと。
Never mind, it's all fucking games. Surely there's more than just... Surely she's wearing more than just the clothes on her back for however long she's going to be staying with him.
ゲーム？
テレビ、ないみたいだったので、モニターを持ってきました。
Brought a whole fucking setup. I respect it.
モニター。え？モニター？
古いので、発色良くないんですけど。
いやいや、え？ 呼んでくれれば。
それは申し訳ないので。
俺が持つっつってもこう言って渡さねえんだよ。そのせいで死にかけてやがる。
思ったより重かったです。
俺運びますんで、休んでてください。
すみません。
まだなんかあるか？
いや、ありがとう。
じゃあな。
You're like, you could never gotten Ghost to help you or anything. I call back Ghost and proceed to carry Haruka's stuff to the living room. This thing's heavy. It looks like she brought her monitor and her game console as well. Got game console with her.
とりあえずここに置いときます。
Nah, she brought the whole fucking tower.
すみません。ありがとうございます。先に着替えても。
はい、どうぞ。
She crouches down to take off her shoes and gets up again. Haruka starts taking off her clothes like I'm not even in the same room. I do my best to not look, but I catch a few glimpses anyway. What's the problem? You're dating her, aren't you? Haruka keeps going without a care in the world, and she's now taken off her underwear too. She puts my shirt on over her creamy skin. Oh, I see. She's gonna be wearing his clothes. I was gonna make that joke, but I guess it wouldn't have been a joke. Haruka sure got used to me fast. Then again, she never really objected to showing me her naked body. I'm happy that I get special treatment, but at the same time I feel a little sad that she's not embarrassed at all in my presence. Listen. When the shy girl is... when you start dating the shy girl and she becomes like this, it's very hot, alright? That's all I'm gonna say. Haruka right now is very hot. And then if she still gets flustered a bit, even hotter. Haruka stops buttoning her shirt and looks at me.
はいはい。
前開けるのと閉じるの、どっちが好きですか？
I could feel my face burning when she asked the question. Listen, just like with the uniform, just like with Haruka's uniform, you should keep it closed with this personality, and then you can have it open with the other personality. All right, it's just that easy. I don't know. You know, maybe she. Maybe during the change in personality, she unbuttons her shirt, but you know, we'll never find out why it changes so drastically. But I take it into serious consideration. Closed is pretty good in itself. However,
開けてる方で。
well,
わかりました。じゃあこのままで。
Haruka nods vigorously. My brain recognizes this conversation as absolutely stupid, but I ignore it for the time being. Being honest with each other's desires is good enough for us.
モニター、テーブルの上に置いてもいいですか？
No, I feel like you've been pretty open with your desires toward Haruka when you started talking about how much you loved her tits. To Renya. Not to Sora, right? That she already knew that you liked her tits way before when you were talking about it to Renya.
大丈夫ですよ。片付けます。
すみません。お願いします。
I move the stuff on the table aside to make room for Haruka's monitor. I can almost see it because the cloth just draped over her body. See it because the cloth's just draped over her body. I won't say what, but yep, I can see it. Oh, you mean her nipples? Nice.
よいしょ。電源ケーブル。
俺やりますよ。
ありがとうございます。あとは。
I plug in the power cable along with the other interconnects. The console is now sitting right next to the monitor. Haruka turns it on like she can't wait to play.
いつも私の要望ばかりで申し訳ないのですが、恋人と一緒にゲームしたいなってずっと思っていて、協力プレイできたらなって思って、やったことあるかもですが、面白いゲームをいくつか。
Haruka suddenly shouts. Her eyes widen as she frantically starts rifling through her luggage. Haruka, what kind of games do you got? He fucking goes through them. Oh, we've got an Aragay, you got an Aragay, you got an Aragay. Oh, here's a multiplayer game. Oh wait, it's a multiplayer Aragay. Oh, you got another Aragay and another. Is that motherfucking Rance?
どうしました？
かけるさん、
あ、はい。
1個しかない。
え？
コントローラー1個しかないです。
Really? I mean, is it because she only had one controller? Because like it makes sense considering that she's never had a friend before.
すみません、忘れちゃいました。協力プレイできない。
She slouches in disappointment while clutching the controller. Haruka looks halfway dead. She must have been really looking forward to it.
買いに行きます？
ダメです。コントローラーめちゃくちゃ高いんです。
Yeah, that's the problem with. I forgot the term, but it's basically the same thing as. It's the same reason why printers are so cheap. Right? It's because the cartridges are so it's because they make the cartridges so expensive so that they can essentially break even on the loss of the printer to make up for the loss of the printer. It's the same thing with consoles, right? The console is going to be the one thing is a one-time buy. But you know, you've got all those accessories, and then, of course, you can't just have one controller, because what if you want to play with your friends? So you have to buy 2 controllers, and then, of course, right? It's fucking bullshit.
そうなんですか
？6000円くらいします。
高っ！
この部屋にはないですよね。
ないっすね。俺、据え置きのやらないからな。
すみません。私は何のためにこんな重いものを。
I'm sure Sora has a controller that you can borrow. Is she the one who plays games, or am I just thinking that because of Amane and fucking Angelic Chaos?
じゃあ、俺見てますよ。はるかがゲームしてるところ。
でも。
せっかく持ってきたんだし遊ばないと。俺見てるの好きなんですよ。結構実況プレイとかもよく見てますし。
実況プレイ。じゃあ。
Haruka's mood brightens up.
ホラーとか嫌いですか？
ああ、よく見ます。自分ではできないけど、他人がやってるのを見るのは楽しい的な。
Yeah, I love watching Markiplier play horror games.
じゃあ買ったけどまだ遊んでないゲームがあって。あった、これです。2年くらい前のゲームなので知ってるかもですが。
ああ、タイトルは知ってます。でも内容は全然っすね。
よかった。じゃあこれやりましょう。雰囲気出してもいいですか？
雰囲気？
真っ暗にしたいです。
いいっすね。カーテン閉めます。
お願いします。
Damn, it got dark really quickly. And he hasn't even closed. I mean, the fucking they just switched to the nighttime background. I draw the curtains closed, blocking off the stray light coming from outside. Now the atmosphere is perfect. I sit next to Haruka, who can't wait to play the game, and look at the screen. At least let her sit in your lap, you know? That's my fantasy, alright? Never mind.
やっぱり発色悪いですね。
全然気にならないですよ。いつもノート PC で動画見てるんで、やっぱでかいといいですね。
The game starts as we talk over it. The plotline is typical enough. Two police officers investigate an old mansion because of a mysterious incident that happened there. The officers on the screen step into the inside the mansion.
うわ、早速死体だらけ。結構グロいっすね。
ですね。何かアイテム。
Haruka starts clicking the interact button, completely ignoring the corpses and that jumped out at me. I've always considered myself as a casual, but even I can see that Haruka is truly hardcore. She's got a pretty high tolerance for horror games too. At least I think she does, considering how she's doing so far.
まだチュートリアルだからアイテムとかなさそうですね。
She stops exploring and advances the plot. And the plot advances quickly enough. The player is kidnapped by a mysterious man and is now in some kind of ruined building. A misshapen, sort of, a misshapen sort of man is dismembering a human body. When the man leaves, the player takes the knife stuck in the corpse, cuts his ropes with it, and escapes the cell. I'm trying to picture which game they're referencing here, right? Because it's like, when I thought of the mansion, my first thought immediately went to Resident Evil, right? But they said the game was came out 2 years ago in relation to the chronology of the game, this one, but I can't think of anything. Whatever. So I'm pretty sure you're supposed to sneak around and make sure the man doesn't find you. Haruka, on the other hand.
よーし。
Yeah. And then there's like the two police officers, and then I started thinking about Outlast, right? I mean, right? It's gotta be a reference to a horror game. Well, yeah, it's gotta be a reference to a real horror game, right? But I can't think of it. It takes the knife into her hand and sneaks up behind the man.
死ね。
The man turns around and cuts the player character down with a hatchet. Good job, Haruka. Yep.
もしかしたら倒せるかなって思ったんですが、やっぱりダメでしたね。
Haruka laughs as blood forms the words of game over on the screen. And that was quite the bloodlust I felt from her. The first thing she did in the game was try to kill the enemy in front of her instead of running away. Haruka can be pretty aggressive in a video game.
よーし、気を取り直して。
The game continues and Haruka finds herself in a spot where she has to run. She's supposed to toss a bottle to draw the enemy's attention away from her, but instead she flings it right at his face.
今だ。
Armed with a knife, she rushes at his back even though she's obviously supposed to stay in hiding. The man turns around. Haruka, how many times are you going to do this before you...
今度はチェーンソーでめった切りにされました。
Where'd he pull out that fucking chainsaw, bro? Haruka laughs. This girl's a real killer. Probably more bloodthirsty than the in-game enemy. It feels like she's enjoying the player's death a little too much. Is she trying to unlock all of them? Wait, now I'm not so sure. How are you supposed to play a horror game again?
やっと銃が手に入りましたね。
Don't, Haruka. It's not gonna work. You're not gonna. You can't kill the main bad guy with a gun. It'll never work out. It's just like in the fucking horror movies where you try to shoot the serial killer who's supposed to be a normal human, but they always come back. Haruka sounds ecstatic. Oh dear, is all I can muster as I'm sitting next to her. It's a whole different game now.
弾薬少ないから節約しないと。
Yeah, this is why I'm thinking about Resident Evil, because Resident Evil popularized survival horror games, you know? And it is the most popular version. I mean, you know, there's like Silent Hill and like Amnesia, but yeah, especially a Japanese game, right? She says while shooting the first enemy that comes into view. She shoots again. Haruka fires her gun as soon as an enemy spawns in. And she's going for headshots every time.
もしかして FPS とか得意です？
対戦はあまり得意じゃないのでほとんどやらないんですけど、キャンペーンモード、一人で遊べるモードがあるゲームはよくやります。
ああ、やっぱりうまいですもんね、操作。
そうですか？自分としてはそんなになんですが。
Haruka says this while nailing another headshot. Thank God there's only one controller between us. I'd probably drag her down in multiplayer. And she'll definitely kick the shit out of me in competitive.
たまだ。
Haruka smiles when she finds a magazine of ammunition. She proceeds to fill her enemies with lead without showing the slightest hint of fear.
ショットガンとかはあるのかな？やっぱりハンドガンだけだと物足りないですね。
You know what? Maybe the horror game she's playing is just an amalgamation of other survival horror games, you know?
そうっすね。
あれ？ボーガンだ！こんなのあるんですね。使ってみよう。
Haruka takes her new gun and giggles like a child opening a Christmas present. An enemy is nearby and she immediately uses it as a training dummy.
威力はハンドガンよりマシ程度ですね。
ですね。
でも楽しい。あ、まだ生きてる。殺さなきゃ。
Haruka shoots a bolt right into the crawling enemy's head. I've seen a whole new side of Haruka. While refreshing, I can't help but put up my guard. I don't know what you're talking about. This is pretty hot.